Hey, we're off out in the van, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we are off to Wigan.
We're going seeing where the windows for the boat are going to be made. So Paul's hometown. He'll be able to speak the lingo.
I will be able to speak the lingo.
I feel like long distance Clara driving this. Does anybody remember her from Pigeon Street?
I'm too young to remember Pigeon Street.
Whatever. Didn't they have pigeon carriers field messages when you were younger?
We made it to Caldwells. Look at this weather. Stunning, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Yeah, we've got donuts. I bet they're all on diet.
I think they've got a job lot of the Christmas boxes, so we can't get rid of them.
Yeah, so we're going to pop in, see Hannah, hopefully Barry and the rest of the team, and see what they get up to inside. Come on in with us.
It was really kind of Barry and the team to show us around Caldwells. We asked Barry how it all started.
Well, we started in 1988. Just myself and my dad in a small unit, and then from there we've progressed. We've grown over the period since then. We've moved to one unit, we filled that. We came to this unit in 2000, and then we expanded again in 2005. With the just different types of windows that we were doing, the different process, we just grew and grew, took on more staff, kept everything local. Always sort of try and keep things UK based as much as we can, and then in the process of that, everything that we do has glass in it, obviously with the windows that you're after yourselves. So I decided after the recession in 2008 to sort of heavily invest into a glass processing plant, which you'll see on the video. That obviously has grown again. We started with just very basic stuff, just cutting glass. Expanded through, bought cutting tables, edging machines, new toughening plant eventually, CNC machines. I've got another CNC machine coming in at the end of this month. So all in all, this is where we're at today, with the staff that we've got over the road making the manufacturing side, staff over this side doing the glass. We built it all together, and the products that we're producing now are based on the ideas I've had over the number of years from start to today.
Caldwells are well known for the bonded windows, and we asked Barry how that started.
A few years ago we decided to do the bonded boat windows. Now the bonded boat windows came from an idea from the horse boxes that we do, where all the sides are all glass, and I always had it in my head that I would love to do the bonded boat windows, see what they would look like. But again, that's not up to me. I just manufacture windows. It's up to the likes of yourself to take that on board and think, yeah, that looks smart, we'll go with that. So one of the boat shows at Crick, we just sent a horsebox window down, got a lot of interest. My dad rang me up, he said, there's a lot of interest in this window. So I put pen to paper, I'd what's in my head onto paper, onto the computer, come up with some design work. We went with that. So we started with the single glazed. That developed into a double glazed instantly, because people always ask the question, can you do a double glazed version? So we added the Thermo-break into the double glazed version straight away. And then recently I've also designed a flush bonded window, so when the glass closes it comes through the unit, and that sits flat on the face edge. The difference in the fitting is, it says it at the bonded windows, so that's a process of attaching it to the boat. So there's no fixings, there's no lugs, there's no screws, there's no drilling involved. It's all primers and sealants that stick to the boat. And we've had a very good response from them. I think they look really good once they're done.
The window frames start the life here in the steel fabrication workshop. The frames are bent into shape for all the single, double and Thermo-break glazing. This is Caldwell's production manager and he runs the show. And you can see him here cutting down sections of aluminium depending on the customer's requirements. And any drilling or milling that's needed doing is done here. The frames arrive in separate sections over in the welding bay and they're welded together ready for sanding. At this stage every single frame gets sanded down. The frames are then sent off for powder coating unless you're getting them polished, and this is done at Caldwells. If your windows are polished, this is where they'll get the finish, and all polishing is done by hand. This is where the huge sheets of glass get cut into shape and all the shapes are programmed into this computer. I held my breath at this point, but I've got to admit, watching this machine, it was absolutely fascinating. The sheet of glass was pushed over to one side and it was amazing to see this glass cutter working his own magic. There are some really skilled people at Caldwells and it was amazing to watch them all at work. And I absolutely love this. This is a CNC machine. Most of the edge work is done on the machine, but the major works are the bonded windows. The CNC machine performs all the cuts by water jets. It's even got a magic button. This is for the drain holes on the outside of the windows. Once the glass is cut, it runs through these dryers, it pops out the other side, and then it's ready for the BSI kite marks. The kite marks are a recognised symbol of outstanding quality. These pieces of glass are about to be made into double glaze units. They become either standard double glazing units or Thermo-break windows with spacer bars and hot melt. We asked Barry what the Thermo-break windows do.
Yeah, the Thermo-break, obviously, on everyone who knows boats knows that you get condensation on the inside of windows. So we're trying to reduce that, and that basically is the transfer of the cold coming in, hitting the heat on the inside, which forms condensation. Now, it's not an exact science because everybody lives in a boat differently, the number of people on board, how you live on board, the ventilation you put on board. You know, basically you're a big steel tub sat on cold water, you know, with the weather's very... So, you know, we try and reduce it as best we can. I don't think you'll ever get it completely gone, just with so many different elements involved. So it's just to try and reduce that. So what we do is we put a Thermo-break in the frame. So when the cold comes through, it hits the Thermo-break, the plastic pretty much, which doesn't get to the outer layer. So that then should stop. But on the bonded windows, you've got multiple layers because you've glass outside, then you've got your sealant, then you've got your frame that's attached to the glass, then you've got your Thermo-break, and then you've got your outer piece. So there's a couple of layers there. So it all works well to reduce, if not, you know, get rid of the condensation completely.
Excellent. Now we've got privacy glass. Is there more demand, do you think, for that on narrowboats?
It's getting a lot more demanding, as it were, if that's the right term of phrase, but it's not for everybody. No. You know, we're not trying to produce a window to replace a window. We're giving people options, and within that options of the dark glass, you've got different layers. So you can start with a clear glass, you can have a tinted glass, then you can go for the privacy glass. Now the bonded windows are designed with the privacy glass in it because I think it's the look, it's the aesthetics of that full window. I think it looks really smart. It doesn't suit everyone, but it's not supposed to, and it will inside a narrowboat will feel a bit darker. Obviously in a wide beam it won't feel as bad, but I think it's just people are just not used to it. If you move into a boat with the privacy in, you're just used to that much daylight. The advantages as well is canal side during the day when people are walking past, you can't see in your boat, so you've got complete privacy in your boat. Night time when you put the lights on has the opposite effect.
Yeah.
You would shut your blinds anyway at that point. The privacy glass is very popular.
Yeah.
I think it looks really smart, but you can compromise a little bit. So you can tone it down, go for a standard grey. So you've still got, it's like an in-between, you know, so you still get this very similar effect, but without as much, I mean, it's not dark inside, it's just different.
Yeah.
I think if you're used to it, it's just the normal. It's just the norm.
Yeah, we really like the privacy glass, and we've had some good laughs because you get people checking out the reflection in the glass and they've no idea that you're sat looking right at them. So yeah, it really is effective. You just can't see it at all, can you? So as a security measure as well, it's a good thing, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, anything that stops people from just walking past, nosying and spotting something definitely has an advantage on security side for sure.
Yeah. And thinking that there's probably somebody in the boat, you just can't tell, can you, with the privacy glass?
Yeah, you don't know. But yeah, it's personal preference at the end of the day. It has advantages. I suppose it has its disadvantages for people who don't like that type of thing. Personally, for me, I think aesthetically on a modern boat, the bonded windows with the dark glass, you know, with the right paint job, I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, I agree. So it's 2023, and there seems to be a big demand for boats and camper vans. Have you seen business pick up because of that? During
the COVID, the lockdown, I mean, it's gradually sort of been busy. We've never sort of been, you know, flat with struggling for work. The boating industry has always been sort of on the rise for as long as I can remember. I would say within COVID, it's definitely took a sharp rise, but all leisure, the caravans, the campers, everything, because everything was a stay-at-home holiday, wasn't it? So it definitely took a big rise. But you know, it is a lovely place to be. I don't own a canal boat. I have been on canal boats, and once you put yourself in that setting and you're tootling down the canal, you know, everything can be chaos over here, but here it's very calm and slow. So, and I think a lot of people, you know, their lifestyle's changed. They've realised there's more to life, you know, than just work, and people should just enjoy it. And if, you know, boating's one of those ways of doing it, then I can see the pull and the relaxation of it.
Yeah, we definitely love the lifestyle. Do you think there'll be a point where people have triple glazing, or do you think it'll just be too heavy for boats?
The triple glazing, everything's doable, you know, so you can never say never. It's whether people want to go to that extra cost. You know, things aren't cheap anymore, not that they ever were, but again, over these last couple of years, prices have rocketed. You know, just our glass bill alone has gone up more than 100% in the last 12 months. You know, that's just glass. You've got to factor everything else into it. So you start putting all these extra costs, you know, you've got to try and keep things affordable for us as a company anyway. You know, yes, we can keep going and going and going. You know, and a window that was 200 quid could possibly end up £800. Well, you're timesing that by 8-10 windows in a boat, it becomes a big chunk of money for people. You know, so yes, to answer your question, triple glazing could be done. In doing that, you also have to thicken your profile. So your cavity on your boat, you've got a certain depth, I'm not sure, from steel to liner on the inside. So yeah, you've got enough room to do that. Whether you would gain any benefits from it in a boat, I suppose you could tell me more about that than I do, because I don't live on one. But I think double glazing is probably adequate. We do a triple glazed roof panel, which are getting very popular now. They just sit on the top, so instead of having it open in one, people are cutting decent sized holes out the roof, so they've got natural light coming in
like
from the top, from a skylight, and again, we can thicken that up so you can walk on it, so you don't have to worry about stepping on it. So we can do it thick enough and safe enough that's layered, laminated, toughened, that you can actually step on it, walk across. We can put layers of tint in it, so it's not just sunlight beaming through a clear piece of glass. So, you know, we can do that, and then on the inside we can double glaze it, triple glaze it. So we have done that for people in the past, but for the windows, probably not at this moment in time.
Yeah. And can you explain for those who don't know about the difference between the polished windows and the powder coated windows?
The polished windows are what people think is chrome, but it's not chrome finish. All the windows are made from the aluminium profiles, and then people get different options on what they want to do. Now it starts with a basic mill finish, which is just as it comes from the mill when it's worked, and then we clean it up, we buff it up just with a belt sander. Obviously it's not a finish as such, not a bright finish, but it's just a dull sort of brushed aluminium look. Then obviously if you want them polishing, which is the chrome look, we polish that up all by hand and partly on machine, which gives you the chrome effect, but that doesn't stay like that. So when people come to see us and buy windows directly, we will give them advice on the different finishes, the maintenance that's involved in these different finishes. So with a polished window, if you leave it, it will sort of tarnish and fade over time, whereas you would have to polish it. So I would recommend at least twice a year with a metal polish going round to polish it to keep that shiny look. It does look very nice, and it's very popular, has been for some years. You can get them silver anodized, which we have to polish it first, then get it bright silver anodized. Now we can do that on the normal frames with the Thermo-break. We can't put the Thermo-break in the acid tank, so unfortunately we can't anodize on the powder coaters. We can use any colour it's in the RAL chart. So we get that option, we get that a lot with people. They come in, they have a different colour boat, they want a certain colour scheme going with the windows and the boat to match the trims and the lines that they go around the boat. So again, that's an option to every customer in every style of window. A RAL powder coating, every colour has different shades, so we can powder coat all the windows in whichever one the customer desires. Anodizing, we can only do it in non-Thermo-break windows. That's more of an acid-based treatment, so it goes in different tanks. So you get your satin silver anodizing and your bright silver anodizing, the traditional gold. And they do a couple of different colours in the anodizing. Customers have never opted for that, but the old gold, the bright gold anodizing was like a traditional colour, probably 15 years ago, maybe a bit more.
Now you're going a bit at Crick this year, so if people want to learn more about Caldwells and want to chat to the team, they can come over to you at Crick, can't they?
Yes, we will be at Crick. I think it's the end bank holiday in May, it's when it normally is. So we'll be in one of the marquees. So yeah, anyone's welcome. Come and see us, we can have a chat. And if there's any other thoughts, designs, we'll always help people out, if we can.
Yeah. It's been good meeting you. I'll tell you what, it's been so nice meeting Hannah and the rest of the staff. They're such a friendly team, and they've been really helpful today when we've been filming, so a big thank you to you and the rest of the team as well.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming.
Well, that's our windows being packed and ready to ship off to Liam at Oakums Narrowboats. We can't wait to get them, and we want to say a big massive thank you to Barry, to Hannah and the whole team at Caldwells Windows. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, it's completely free. Please hit the bell icon for notifications, and we'll see you next week.